much locked. This is your core, basically. Whatever happened,
Right.
I'm not going to touch on George Pickens like Savage wasn't going to, but that's really the only other thing you got to do. Now you can fully focus on really revamping the defense over the next 2 years with the draft picks you got from the Michael Parsons trade.
Love that thought. Love that thought. We'll get into that, I'm sure, this offseason. Cowboys champs. Tyler Smith got paid 4-year, $96 million, $81 guaranteed. What was your reaction?
I like it. You get it out the way and stop waiting till the last minute. If they would have waited till the last minute, there's no telling how much money he would have got. But that's how you do it. Go ahead and get it out the way while it's cheaper.
Right. Eshawn.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everyone, man. Listen, the price, like Space Cowboy said, the price is only going to go up, man. And he's an all pro, man. I've liked him since his rookie year, so I can't complain about it. I'm glad that they got it out the way as opposed to just milking out these contracts like they do with most of these major players. So no, I can't complain, man. I'm glad he's signed up.
So, a few months ago, or not even, probably a month ago, I was arguing with G. Hampton. He wanted Micah signed. And I said, okay, Ferguson, Bland, Pickens, Aubrey, Tyler Smith. Who you probably signed Micah and one more guy. So who's the three that you're sacrificing?
Right.
And he couldn't answer the question, right? So I would rather, instead of paying one guy and sacrificing three, I want to sacrifice one and keep 3 or 4 here on the team. And that was the approach that Dallas Cowboys wanted to do. So this is status quo from what makes sense, right? And when Cowboys do things that make sense, it's kind of scary because it's like they don't ever do this. But the Micah thing was by design. They were I heard that they were trying to ship Micah to the Jets, but they didn't have enough compensation to make the deal happen. And they were trading like 2 defensive guys, but they weren't willing to give up a bunch of draft picks. So they valued those 2 ones instead. So, this is status quo for me for Tyler Smith. Cowboys are actually doing things right. DaRon Bland, Tyler Smith, Jake Ferguson. Now, hopefully, Brandon Aubrey's next. But speaking of DaRon Bland, all right, injury-prone Bland. Is that fair, Eshawn?
Look, man, I think so, man. I mean, this is a separate foot than what he got hurt last year, right?
Yeah, it's his right foot. Yeah,
that's his right foot, right? So I don't know, man. I mean, listen, it's to me a red flag when you get hurt in practice like that. So, I mean, listen, he's a great player, man. I like him a lot, but just injury prone. I think not like full blown panic, but is it safe to say? I think so at this point. Yeah.
Champs, what do you think? Injury-prone Bland. Is that fair?
It's a little early, but it's a second injury. And, I mean, if I'm going to say it's a different foot now that's injured.
Yeah.
So, man, if it quack like a duck, swim like a duck.
It must be 5th quarter's $40 hollers.
Man, but like I said, I hope he's not injury prone, but he seemed like that. I hope not.
Space Cowboy, DaRon Bland is injury prone. Is that fair?
I think you don't have enough to say that he's injury prone. Obviously, you have the last year with the foot fracture, and now you got this weird injury that came up. And I don't know when he got hurt, if it was in practice or something. Like, they didn't really. I tried finding everywhere; they wouldn't specify. But I would say no for now. But if he continues, then of course, like we said, the same thing with Trevon Diggs, right? When he first came into the league, and then he was having the issues. Now we're kind of like, yeah, he probably is. I would say, like, if he's out for extended period of time, sure. But just last thing, you do know that extension you gave him, you get it out after the next 2 years. So you have this year, and the next 2 years you can get out of the contract. So that's that's the one thing that's good out of all this. So
yeah, no, that's good. Savage, you're pretty tough on players. DaRon Bland's injury prone. Is that fair to say?
You know what it is? I'm kind of glad it's the other foot and not the one he broke last year, because you have to realize, especially with skill position players, and especially when you rush people back, you're gonna force your body onto the field, but your body is gonna compensate in other ways to get that goal accomplished. And when you have injuries, a lot of times that one injury that you had repaired forces other injuries to happen because you're overcompensating. Am I saying that's what it was? I don't know. For all we know, he could have did it in the game, and we didn't even hear about it. You know,
It happened on Monday at practice.
Okay, is it Monday was a live practice? I mean, were they hitting, or it was just? I mean, I can't see them.
Well, they had the game Thursday, so Monday probably would have been either a type of walkthrough practice or something.
And they're trying to say, oh, he's only going to be out a week or two, but why would he be in a boot if he's going to be out a week or two? I'm thinking it's going to be you're looking more like 3 to 4 if he's in a boot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's still too early to just call him
injury prone. Okay, fifth quarter. I want to hear from you. DaRon Bland is injury prone. Is that fair to say?
For me, I'm gonna say yeah, because I think certain people probably got different definition of what it takes for a person to be injury prone. I think if you rehab an injury, technically you're making both limbs stronger, whether you're working, because you're working both of them. You're just not working that one side that you hurt. You're still working both of them. When you rehab and you're working everything. And for him to come and do that in practice just in the second week, I think that's a sign that he could be injury prone. I just feel like it was too early for that to like. When did that happen? How long has it been nagging him? Was it already nagging him, and it just got to a breaking point? Like, what was it? I'm gonna say yeah, because you just rehabbed and came back, and now you're hurt again. So we asked the same thing with Overshawn, his second injury. We was like, it's too early. Now look, now he going again. He ain't played a full season yet. Injury prone don't mean you get hurt multiple times in a year. It means you can get hurt once a year and be injury prone. It ain't about it happening back to back to back to back. It can be spread out. That still can make you injury prone. For me, I'm saying yeah, because he got hurt, left again. He got hurt. Now he gone again. So I'm gonna say yeah. Even if he don't get hurt again, I'm still gonna put the word injury prone on it until he can stay healthy for a full season.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that, and I'm gonna say he's injury prone as well, fifth, and guys on the panel here, because it's already 2 years in a row, and for some reason,
right,
the universe does not like Trayvon Diggs and DaRon Bland on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
the universe just absolutely hates it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Something injury-wise has stopped them guys from playing opposite. I think that Thursday night Eagle game was the first time that they played on the field at the exact same time, and the wide receivers, both of them, were shut out. So now we're going into this Giants game with Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors. And when I look at, when I see a player go down, I like to look at the practice squad. We got Lyon Childress in there, and we got Robert Rochelle. If we look at our cornerback room outside of DaRon Bland, we picked up Bridges and Stewart. We picked them off the 90-man cuts, our waiver wires. C.J. Goodwin, Kier Elam. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Does any of those corners, and I'll go back to fifth, we'll snake this thing. Does any of those corners that's on the roster now, how confident are you, or do you call up a guy like Childress who had a real good preseason, or a guy like Rochelle who had a good training camp? Or are the Cowboys just screwed there? What do you think, Fifth?
I think until DaRon Bland comes back, it's going to be rough on that side. Those guys just aren't ready for the competitive type of players we got coming up. They're not proven against bigger, better receivers. They're just not proven. And I think they're going to struggle until a guy like DaRon Bland, who's proven himself early on, comes back, unless you go get bring old man Gilly in or something like that, or the only guy would be confident when if Butler was out there. Other guys just aren't proven enough against. Luckily, Bland probably won't miss a lot, but like Savage said, you're in a boot is not a week or two.
Right.
That is a boot. A week or two is you don't need a boot.
Yeah.
So until those guys just aren't proven for high level. Thankfully, we got the Giants and things like that. But if you ain't got DeRon Bland in week 4 against the Packers, you're in trouble. I'm not saying they're not decent players, but high caliber competition, you're gonna need a guy like Bland. You're gonna need Bland. Preseason, you're not playing these guys. Bland has proven himself against veterans. Bland has proven himself against good wide receivers. Bland has broke the pick 6 record, early on, so you can't replace a guy like him. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You take a V8 out and put a V6 in. Yeah, the car gonna run, but it's not gonna give you the same high performance as that V8 did. It'll get you to the house, to the store and back, but not at the same performance. So these guys will get you through the game, but at what cost? So that's true. They won't give you the production Bland will, and I think it's gonna be a struggle until Bland get back on the field.
What about you, Savage? You're a big scout guy. When you look at Bland's injury and you look at what's on the roster, and then you look at what's on the practice squad, how are you feeling?
We're going to be picking in the top 10. I'm sorry. I think a lot of people, man, got lulled into this being a really, really good team going up against Philadelphia. Philadelphia trotted out 2 injured wide receivers, which was their wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. And let's be honest, Brown and Smith, I think they'll get Devontae Smith, I think. They basically were decoys all night. It was the running game, and they were going to the tight ends a lot. So they trotted out 2 injured wide receivers. They were decoys, and everyone thinks our secondary is solid, and it's not. It's not. I just got a feeling like let's just say I got a bad feeling tomorrow. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. Space Cowboy 17. You're also a big scout guy. Well, how you feeling about what's behind DaRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs?
Pray, I guess. I mean, I honestly think that one of the things that's worried me about this team is how top heavy it is, specifically defensively right now in the secondary. Childress, I think, should, for this week alone, you should be able to be serviceable. When I say serviceable, I mean on a level that is decent and you can get through the game without much damage. But all things considered, I think the one thing that's going to be saving you in this game is going to be the fact that the Giants offense is such a mess, when it comes to play calling, execution, etc., that you can get by. But if we're talking about Chicago, or even let's just throw in Green Bay in there, if it's that long of an extended period of time, that's when I start to get worried because, with Chicago, we could say what we want about Caleb Williams and that offense and Ben Johnson and stuff like that. But you're going to be on the road. Typically, Dallas struggles when going to Chicago. And, we saw what Ben Johnson did to us the last time. So I think that for me, that's why I was very nervous about how they constructed the secondary. Sure, it's great you signed DaRon Bland, but outside of that, I really wish they put more, because you got Ravel, but he's not going to be here. That's what you're banking on. And a lot of the other young guys that you're investing in, they're not Carson and stuff like that. Not saying they're great, but
right.
I just think that you should be able to hold it down for this game, but moving forward is where I'll have concern.
Cowboys champs. How
Savage
are you?
Savage and Space Cowboys said it all. They said it all. But the only thing, I just hope that the defensive line can step up. That's all I'll leave it like that.
All right,
they should be able to win this game, but
we'll get into that.
But yeah, guys, I'm out to head on out because I got a break in the morning.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on Corner of Crazy and Cowboys.
You coming on live? Man. Coming on the game live?
I'll be on halftime. I'll be watching from my phone.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right, champs. Appreciate it.
Let's go Cowboys.
All right, see you
All right,
tomorrow, champ.
you already know. Eshawn, with Bland out, you know,
Yeah.
with the depth that's behind, there's really behind Kier. It was C.J. Goodwin, Stewart, and Bridges, who we got off the waiver wire, and then you got Childress and you got Rochelle on the practice squad. How confident are you with Deron Bland being out these 2 weeks that these corners can fill in for injured Deron Bland?
Look, I think for this week, I mean, look, for me right now, it's to be determined just for the simple fact that they haven't, you know, like Fifth said it, they haven't proven it enough for me to have confidence in them to where I can say, they're actually going to shut it down. Now, the Space Cowboys points is it's the Giants, man. So like, if they can't contain this offense with how messy they are, you know, it'll cause a lot of problems for the future and a lot of worries for the future. But no, I think right now, as far as like my level of confidence or lack thereof, I just think for me right now, it's just they haven't proven it enough to me for me to be, you know, confident in them until Deron Bland comes back. So as of this point, I can't say I'm a little bit worried about it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it is a little worrisome because, you know, if you run man, I'm when Kier Elam got beat by up the middle on that man-on-man route, I mean, he got beat bad. And so now my confidence really shrunk with number 20. When you look at Reddy Stewart from Troy University, all right, you know who else was from Troy? Anybody take a guess?
No idea.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
DeMarcus Ware was from Troy. All right. So when you look at Reddy Stewart and you look at the way he played in Chicago, and then you look at these guys, we got Cowboys blog on the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. What up, blog?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
No, we're just talking about the depth behind Bland now that he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. And if I'm going to have a guy fill in for Bland, I want to give Reddy Stewart an opportunity to play here. When you watched him in the preseason game in Chicago, he was actually pretty serviceable for them in the preseason. He was actually kind of consistent. They just had to make the tough choice to cut him. Cowboys were fortunate enough to pick him up on the waiver wire. So Cowboys blog, when you look at the depth behind Deron Bland, and you got Zion Childress on practice squad with Robert Rochelle. You got Bridges, you got Stewart, you got C.J. Goodwin, Kier Elam. How confident are you in them filling in for Bland?
Not very confident, man. Not very confident. I mean, I honestly didn't like what they did with bringing in these unknown dudes. I mean, I honestly, man, I'm pretty good at remembering prospects, but these two dudes that they brought in, I do not remember them whatsoever. They're like unknown of unknowns. I mean, I could be wrong, you know, but they'll be given the opportunity to show up. And they better, bro, because this is a must-win. The toilet bowl, they cannot lose 2 in a row in the division. You know what I mean? So we'll see, man. For me personally, I think Zion Childress has a little something to him. I like how he plays with some confidence, some swagger. I'd rather have that type of player on the field myself. But it's gonna be a tough game. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a hard game. So that behind us, yeah, and I'm not too confident in it, honestly.
Okay, yeah. So we got a lot of blog wants Childress. I want to see Reddy Stewart and see what he's capable of doing. So no telling what the Cowboys will do. But no. Anybody else got anything to say on the corners?
I just think, man, our issue has always been the depth, man. They never put any true stock into it. You know, I mean, you can name a position. You can go Tyron Smith. He had Chaz Green backing him. He had Byron Bell backing him. 2015, Dez Bryant. You had Bryce Butler backing him. Yeah. That same year, you had Matt Castle and Brandon Wheaton backing Romo. I just think we just never put any true stock in getting good depth at any position, man. And we always struggle. And I think this year is no different with the cornerbacks, bro. It's just, I don't know why, man. They suck at that, dude. They just never put any. It's just like once they get their start, they just pick anybody. I'll get him. You know, we ain't gonna need him. I'll start. It's almost like they move like the starters can't get hurt. They always do it, man. You know, even with our depth at backup at center, I still think even though Joe Looney turned out to be decent, it still took him a while.
I still got nightmares of Aaron Donald like power bombing him in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, so I just think even now with quarterback, it's just no different, bro. Like it's just no names like it's always been, and that always hurts us, dude. When the starters go out, we suffer when we have to put backups in, and I think now with Bland, like I say, you know, you can put them in, they can have a sound game, but will they be effective, bro? People still gonna eat on them. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't know why they do it, bro. I think we're gonna suffer, and hopefully Duke can come back. And I ain't trying to go long, but the injury prone, I'm sticking with it, bro. I just feel like it ain't got to be back-to-back injuries in one season. You can get hurt every year and still be injury prone. And right now, it don't look like Bland might not be able to stay healthy for long term, bro.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Savage.
Real quick, I'm going to show you the difference between the Cowboys and the Giants. When Looney left Dallas, he signed with the Giants. And the Giants said, you got to lose some weight. You're out of shape. You got to run laps. He goes, that's it. I retire. And he walked away. He never played a single down. I think he had one practice.
Yeah, he had one practice and he retired. That's true.
So right. You know, Dallas wasn't making him run laps. I can tell you that much. Because evidently it was like you know, he took it as like he's a Hall of Famer and he was getting smacked in the face by telling him to run some laps, you know. But,
yeah, we got OG JP in the house on the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. What up, OG JP?
OG.
Man, you're about to get kicked already, OG.
Already.
We got a vibe here, and you ain't even ready.
1980 in the chat. Sports Junkie, what up?
1980, yep. Sports Junkie.
1980, Sports Junkie, the power man himself. That's why OG, he's starstruck. That's why he wasn't talking. Let's see if OG ready now. Let's see if OG, you are you done being starstruck from 1980? Nope, he's still starstruck from 1980. All right, so we're gonna move on here. Man, look, Jadeveon Clowney made a visit to the Cowboys. Right, and I'm only bringing this up because, yeah, Jadeveon Clowney. That's what it is.
Jadeveon Clowney.
That's what I said, Jadeveon Clowney. That's what I said. It's a tongue twister. Say it 10 times. All right. So, Clowney made a visit for the Cowboys. Cowboys offered Clowney a contract. Clowney said, "You know what? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and make sure and see if there's another team that wants me. Maybe a better team that wants me," right? I'm paraphrasing. That's not his words, but it is what it is. I digress. But the moral of the story is, God darn it, OG. God damn. You can't ever invite that man to a damn live. He ain't. Okay. So, when you think of the star, right? And maybe Savage and Blog will have a better speech than me on this, but it was like you want to play for the Cowboys, you want a star on your helmet. Like if you have a star on your helmet, that's a really good thing. Clowney said, "To hell with that star. I don't want that shit right now. Let me stay on the market one more time. Let me be without a job one more week, and let's see what happens." Danny Savage. How does that make you feel that players, is this retaliation and how they handle the Micah situation, or is just now the direction that the Cowboys are going?
Well, I think for years, no star players. It started with Von Miller, stuff like that. Nobody has been wanting to come here. And that goes from players to head coaches. Only the kids that get drafted here and the free agents that sign with them out of college, you know, who get inducted like all-stars, you know, them. But then they see how other guys leave the team, and the second they leave the team, they bash the team. So Dallas is not, and plus the team hasn't won nothing in 30-plus years. But honestly, for Clowney, man, I wouldn't have offered a rubber chicken pork 2 times, bro. That man must have the best agent in the history of football, because that dude has fleeced more teams out of millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he sucks first to run. He's living off the one play at South Carolina. Don't know why the Texans took him. Texans ran a 3-4, and yet they wanted to make a 6'6", 260-pound guy an outside linebacker in a 3-4. So that didn't make sense. And everywhere he now, you want to talk about a fucking, excuse my language, an injury-prone player. That's an injury-prone player. I'd pass.
Right. Yeah. But let me make sure I redirect this, like refirm up this question. It's not about Clowney being here. It's more about Clowney said, I don't want to be here. The dude don't got a job. And he said, I don't want a star on my helmet. Like, is that the new direction?
Well, I just think he's like, let me sit out 1 to 2 more weeks, see if there's more injuries, and then see if he can get, maybe on maybe he wants a ring. I honestly don't think rings mean anything to these guys anymore. Maybe he sees he's at his end of his career, but maybe he wants a ring, or he's just going to sit back 2 more weeks and he's all right. He's not in shape. It's going to take him 4 or 5 weeks to get in shape, but let's see who else. Let's see who else, maybe he only wants to play 8 games, not 10 games. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Space? How does that look for the star, man? That a player just said, you know what? I got a contract. I got an NFL contract, black and white, ready to go. But I'm not going to sign that. I'm going to wait.
I just think that's just Clowney's just being a dumbass, honestly. It's just because this is how he's been since he's been in the league. We understand how the Cowboys operate when it comes to free agency. They have their types of what they want. And then we to the point of with what happened, like you were mentioning earlier, like, okay, like Micah leaves and like every time some player leaves, it's always something like, oh my God, this is the best place I've ever, like, dude, we don't give a shit. Like, honest to God, like, we don't care. And I think that's the thing is that, I understand that in this day and age, it's about, within an era where it's NIL, trying to find generational wealth, all that other stuff. That's one aspect of it. And then there's the brotherhood aspect of it, because, some people get into this sport because of the love of the game, not just for the money. Right.
Right.
And I think for me, at least, when we look at teams that go on to win championships, right, there is that second element of being able to come together as a brotherhood and win. Like, if you're going out there just as a bunch of dudes just trying to get a contract, like, you can win one, but it's not like the same as like, and I hate to bring up the 90s again, but like that was a different level of camaraderie compared to what we're seeing now. And so, if it were up to me, I would not sign Clowney. I think you're only signing him because you saw issues containing the run on the edge. But again, I think that there are other options that you can go with. But I'd say that to answer your point now, I don't think it's that the Stars' reputation's been tarnished because of the Micah situation. I think at the end of the day, because of how things have come out afterward, like about how the agents handling what Micah's saying, like I think that, again, knowing how people have like short-term memory, we're gonna forget about how this thing went down, like in like 2 months, maybe at the most.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. That's a good point. Oh, G, you ready, man?
Happening.
We're talking about Clowney and this front office. Is in your opinion, Clowney saying, "Hey, I came here for a visit. I appreciate the visit. I appreciate the contract of it, but you know what? I'm gonna wait." Is that the way players are looking at the Dallas Cowboys star now, or is now the star a big joke? What do you think, OG?
I think he's just trying to get in shape. He's trying to get the money together. They're trying to work out the money. So once they work out the money, all right, bring them on in. We need all the help we can get. Our pass rush don't look good right now. That's for sure. We got nobody to chase the quarterback down. We saw it against Philadelphia. We're going to find out tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
Sam Williams and those guys, or can we get some pass rush? Because Russell will break.
Well, we're going to get into that, OG. We're going to get into that. The question was on the start.
I'm going back to why we need to sign Clowney. That's why I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
if you allow Russell Wilson to break for all those yards tomorrow, then bringing Clowney in against Chicago will be your best bet if he's the only best pass rusher out there for you right now. They can't get pressure to the quarterback right now. They need a little pressure, but when they need it the most, that's when they need to bring in. Give the guys the rest. We're not getting a lot from Fowler. We're not getting a lot from the rookie. We see that he don't have bulk. His bulk is not there. He can't beat those big those tackles out there. They throw him around like a rag doll. So we need all the veteran help we can get right now.
All right.
Yeah. So hopefully
Yeah.
we go bring him on in, sign him. We need to show we can stop the quarterback from running, and then we can create that pressure on third down.
All right. Great point, OG. Great point. Fifth quarter Cowboys. Is the star tarnished?
No.
Fifth, you ain't fifth. Go
Your
ahead.
name
I'm sorry. Hey, Fifth, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Too many hours?
I'm tired of you, OG.
No, man. You know,
Come on, man.
been dealing with family. I had a family death this weekend, so I just been with family all day. But I think after a while, bro, when you constantly just continue to get a job, you know, your thoughts are different. Clowney has been from team to team to team, and he feel like he can do better than the Cowboys. So essentially, yeah, I guess your point is right. If to start trying, not having a job and leaving the job like, I think I could do better. That's just like that's just the respect he got for the team. It's none, bro. I don't even know why he went there. I think he went there. You know why he went there? He went there because he see people get paid, and they probably offered him something he thought was going to be better. And in his head, hell, I don't finessed all these teams now. I can go somewhere else and get some money. He went there thinking they was going to offer him more than they probably did because they know that Dallas would overpay guys. And but man, Jadeveon Clowney, man, please, man, give me a break, bro. Go home, bro. Go home. But I think that says more about Dallas than it says about him when you ain't got a job and you tell a team, I'll take my chances, man. So I think it says more about Dallas than it says about him, bro. Honestly.
Cowboys blog. This is serious. What's your opinion, man?
Yeah, I think that it's the pro scouting department. Not good, bro. It's not what it should be right now. I mean, it's name recognition players that are busts that suck. Work a little bit harder and look at other players around the league. Maybe you need to use a fourth or fifth combination of mid-round picks and go snag somebody off a roster. I mentioned looking at the Dolphins. They're going to be a fire sale here pretty soon. Maybe rip off them. One of their defensive ends. They got a couple there. Do that. Look around other teams, not has-beens or never-beens, bro. Like Clowney, honestly, I think that he doesn't want to be looked at as a starter, because if he comes in here at the roster that we have, Fowler, these dudes, he would be kind of like a de facto starting edge, and I don't think he wants that kind of spotlight on him. He wants to be more of the rotational background kind of guy who can kind of chill and get that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, and get hurt every now and then. Like, he doesn't move the needle for me, man. They if they're serious about edge, they're gonna have to invest something, a little bit more better than that. That ain't it. That ain't it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Eshawn? I don't know. We're talking about, like, Clowney said, thanks for the offer. I'm not going to sign that. I'm going to wait. Is the reputation of the Dallas Cowboys tarnished, or is Clowney just really wants to test that market? What do you think?
No, I think it is. I think it is tarnished, man. I mean, and look, it's no mystery behind all of the struggles and all of the clown show and all the shit that we all talk about all the time when it comes to the Cowboys. That being said, I completely agree that Clowney, I don't think he has anything left in the tank. man is 32 years old, man. He's a has-been. So I don't really think it's, we're necessarily missing out on anything if we were to have gotten him. But to the question, I think it's, look, we've all said it numerous times about, that this team is all flash and little to no substance. At least I've said that. So it's, you know what I mean? So in terms, I think I think it's more in that sense of things as far as the star being tarnished, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's him, we really him not coming here. It's okay, so what? That's kind of where I am with it, to be honest.
Okay. No. I think it says a lot about this front office, guys. I think Jerry is in the dumps about, the Micah deal, because they wanted to sign him. And then Jerry said, you know what? For the payback for the shenanigans you pulled, you're going to play on your 5th-year option, right? And I think with all that news getting out, and I granted he said, she said with the agent, what he said was to Stephen A. Smith and all that. I think going forward, I think players are going to look at that. And I'm not just talking about Clowney. I'm talking about the Derrick Henry of the world. He lives in Dallas. When he was a free agent, they didn't even try to call and pick up the phone. And I think for a player, that shows some type of disrespect, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong, right? But and then there's just a lot. And then the Randy Gregory contract, where they try to throw in that lingo in there. And that rubbed him the wrong way. And so he left. He said he backed out of that deal and went to Denver and signed. So there's a trend here over the last 5 years of players getting treated badly. Players see that. And now I think we're seeing the ripple effect to that. I think Jerry's brain is getting too big in this new world of the NFL. Well, go ahead, Savage.
No, I was just watching the game, but I was just saying, I think it all came down to one thing. It wasn't the number that he wanted. Because if it was a high enough number, he would have took it. Or maybe they threw something in there like incentive-based, or you get paid by the games you play and not guaranteed money. But I also think the star is tarnished. But if that number was high enough, he would have signed, in my opinion. Because you would be stupid not to.
I can see that.
Right. But Jaja Binks, I'm talking about players that are not involved. Like Cowboys are known for taking care of their own, right? And building to the draft and taking care of their own. What I'm talking about is players coming in. And if you look at it, it's usually 1-year deals for these players. I mean, Javonte Williams is your starting running back, and he's on a 1-year deal. So it's how they treat the players outside coming in. We know they take care of their own, and the Cowboys that's been here from day one, that's all they know. That's all they know is how Jerry works. They don't know how other front offices work. They just know what Jerry does, right? So, but when other teams when other players on the outside are looking in, they're like, man, Jerry's a clown, man. The hell do I want to go to Dallas for and have to deal with that disrespect?
And I think the other thing too, Mike, is that I believe the Cowboys operate like any other corporation in corporate America, where it's like if you are an outsider trying to get in, you're kind of looked at weird. But when you're inside, you're kind of treated like, oh, you're cool, we this, that, and a third. And I think that's where, I've always preached about roster stability. That doesn't mean like just re-signing your own dudes. It's like, okay, you have a vision/plan for what you want to do for the next, let's just say 4 years under Brian Schottenheimer, if that's all he gets. Like, okay, go get guys that he is comfortable with or wants to work with under this coaching staff. And if you're not doing that, then that plan isn't going to work out. So it really feels like, again, they treat this thing like they don't have liquid cash to spend money on guaranteed money. That's what I've always looked at, is like, again, they look at the Cowboys as part of their investments. They don't really treat it as like a football team, and compared to other owners, right, where they kind of just sit back and they're like, and this is what happens when you have the business and I understand like the business side of it reflects what you can do with the football side, of course, but not to the extent that the Cowboys do, where it's like, okay, like if you, I don't know, like you can pick any other team. The owner typically just says, you know what, take care of the business stuff. If we got to pay a player, like I'm talking about guaranteed money, because that's like a straight up check that you're giving a player.
Right.
So
Right.
that's where I question, are the Cowboys cash poor? Like, why are they not spending more money outside? And I'm not saying spending more money per se equals winning a championship. That's not what I'm trying to insinuate. But I feel like if the situation is, okay, you're that close, you just need to lock up these players. Okay, why is it taking so long? Is that you don't have the money? What's going on? But I just think the front office needs to change their approach. And the last thing is just like with the Micah situation, right? I think the reason why this is different than any other situation we've had is I think it got personal. From what I've heard behind the scenes, it got real personal.
Yeah.
And that rarely, happens to that extent. Usually it's like it works out because sometimes it gets like that. But that's where I'm like, okay, because we've seen players like use the star as a means to get traded or get a bigger contract extension. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
That's true too. What do you think, Block?
Yeah, all true, man. I think Space hit it right on the head, man. It's exactly what it is, dude. It's and they need to change it, and maybe they're trying to do a little bit this season, taking a little bit of different approach. But they got a ways to go, and it's crazy that this is kind of like experimental to them, that they don't have it. They don't have a plan. You know what I mean? It's always like, let's try this for a couple. But they've been trying for the last couple seasons, or over a decade now. That has not been working. So maybe they're waking up a little bit, and maybe they are going to try something next off season. But right now, same old, bro.
Yeah. What about you, Eshawn?
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree, but I think a lot of these, contracts being dragged out and all this other stuff, or even the Derrick Henry thing that you were talking about, I think it's a lot of it is about ego too, man, because it was one thing that Jerry didn't even bother to reach out, but then he even said with a straight face in the middle of the season that Derrick Henry wouldn't fit the Cowboy system. You know what I'm saying? And so I think a lot of it is ego driven when it comes to Jerry Jones and these contracts and the way he treats all of these people and things like that. So I think it's more rooted in that side of things. So that's I guess my speculation, I guess, if you want to put it that way, but that's what it would be for me, man.
So our last topic before we get in final thoughts and final topics here. Now I'll start with Cowboys Block here. What your concerns and what are you really watching when you for this Giants game? What are your concerns and what are you really watching here, Block, for these Cowboys versus the Giants?
My concern is the defense. You know what I mean? Philadelphia, they were able to answer our touchdowns with touchdowns, and then the wheels finally fell off. And they just outbeat us. So, that's still the main focus for me. I think the offense will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if they figure out our offense or shut down the run, and then it needs to become an aerial attack, can Pickens pick it up? You know what I mean? I'm focused on the defense, especially now with Bland being out. I think that's going to be the main focus of the Giants' attack. I think they're going to try to hit you in the secondary. Running game doesn't really scare me that much, but we've seen these guys get blown to pieces by crappy running backs before, so you just never know, man. I'm just ready to see what happens in this game, but they cannot lose it. They need to throw the kitchen at these guys.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Danny Savage, what are your concerns and what are you really watching for against these Giants?
Like I said, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of people are going to be surprised tomorrow. Everyone's thinking this Cowboy team is going to go out there and blow them out by 21 points. Giants have very good, but you can say right now, the Giants running backs are better than Dallas's running backs. Porter and Scatterboo is better than what Javonte Williams and what Miles Sanders. I would take Porter and Scatterboo over these two. They got a good tight end, Theo Johnson out of Penn State. He was injured last year. They got good wide receivers. Giants have very good skill position players. Now, their offensive line does suck, but the last time I checked, our defensive line sucked. So that's a wash right there. But now when we're on offense, the Giants have a very, very good defensive line. Very good defensive line. So I think the interior is going to get tested, and I think the tackles are going to get tested. Now, let's be honest. Abdul Carter is going to, run around and steal for at least 1 sack tomorrow, 2 sacks tomorrow. I just think it's going to be a hell of a lot closer, and like the fan base is just being like, "Oh, it's the Giants. We're going to be in by like double digits." And I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Okay, Eshaun, what are your concerns and what are you watching in this Week 2 Giant matchup?
I think for me, concerns wise, it's for me this rooted in the second half play in our defensive line. Now, granted, I know last week that a lot of the weather delays and stuff like that more than likely contributed to them getting a donut in the second half, but nonetheless, they donut in the second half on offense and not even getting a field goal. And so for me, it's more rooted in that you can't, and it's also like, I don't know if this is necessarily a concern, but what I'm watching out for, CD better have a bounce back game, man. I anticipate he will, but I don't want to see any drops from him this game, man. I'm going to be, I'll get mad if I see another drop, especially given how he, and I don't anticipate it'll happen, but I'll be watching out for him for sure, but yeah, it's more about our second half play because the first half showed me that we can score, but it's just they didn't score in the second half, right? So that's just what it is. And our defensive linemen, I just don't trust them right now, man. That's just what it is. But yeah, so as far as my concerns, it would be more rooted in that. And yeah, but we better win this game tomorrow, man. That's all I really got to say. But
Perfect. Space Cowboy 17, or excuse me, Space Cowboy Media. Golly. What are your concerns and what are you watching for?
I would say the number one thing I'm looking out for is offensive consistency. I've harped on this before the season began, during the off season, and even last game. Like, there were things that I liked that I want to see moving forward. The utilization of pre-snap motion at that clip, to do it that much and get success is huge. On top of that, executing those plays, whether those opening scripts like we saw against Philadelphia, that's what I want to see. Including, second half play calling. I just want to see more consistency there and just being aware of like, okay, if we're having an issue doing this, we need to change this up. The other thing is, like, I believe we talked about this in the last show, was the pre-snap penalties. You didn't have any.
Right.
You only had like really the one holding call, and I think the unnecessary roughness, or actually, the unnecessary roughness, or the whatever against Pickens, but which is great because under Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett, we've had that problem consistently, especially under Mike McCarthy. But to Savage's point, like I've said, I don't think the Cowboys are like here. They're kind of like here. They're like one of those middle tier teams that you're trying to make sure that, okay, if the Giants are who we think they are, which a lot of fans think they're better. To me, I think the Giants are in the position where the Commanders were several years ago, where they're just a quarterback away from really figuring this thing out. That's why I think you're getting lucky that you're playing Wilson this go around, because, defensively, I think for the Giants, that is,
Right.
This is going to be a great test for this O-line. I think that we're going to really see, okay, are they growing? Is this run game going to be consistent? Because you got to remember, the Giants defense gave up 200 rushing yards. Now, granted, you did have a mobile quarterback in Jaden Daniels, so a different dynamic there. But the fact is, they were still able to run the ball effectively and kill them in that part of the stat sheet. But again, that's my concern. This year for the Cowboys has been, I'm just going through the motions. Can they build some identity that we can finally be like, finally, this team does this good and we do this consistently?
Right.
And if they can't do that, then it just feels like Mike McCarthy all over again. The Cowboys every single week, where one thing you're doing one thing, then the next week you're doing another thing.
Yeah.
So that's my main concern going forward into this game.
Yeah. For me, guys, my concern is going 0-2. If the Dallas Cowboys go 0-2, it's done. I don't care how many games are left. It's a wrap. Start. I mean, there's nothing statistically going 0-2 in the NFL. You've dug your grave. and your headstone set in place. The only thing we got to do is wait for week 18 for that dirt to carry onto that casket, right? So when we just can't afford to go 0-2. On the Frisco Report Tuesday, shout out to the Frisco Report Cowboys blog and myself every Tuesday. We brought up a topic, and I said, well, who's the sleeper? Are the Cowboys the sleeper team that can beat us, or is the Giants the sleeper team that can beat us? Because the way that we're going and trending, we're going to be the guys that play spoiler.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I can't think of the dang word. What word am I looking for?
Trap game. We're the
trap game. Yes. Like we're going to be the guys that are in the conversation. Like the Cowboys could be a trap game because that's the trend that I see us going if we go 0-2. If we go 0-2, man, I'm telling you, the Schottenheimer experience was a flop.
Yeah.
The Dak Prescott, it doesn't matter what stats he brings up. You go 0-2, none of that matters. None of that matters. So my concern right out the gate is going 0-2. And then I'm watching cornerbacks. To Eshan's point, I'm watching CD. I'm watching Pickens. If Pickens does a lazy route again, dude, I'll put a fork in him. Put a fork in Pickens. Like I can't see that crap no more. That is bull crap. Eshan also brought up another point. He said the first half showed that they could score points. I'm gonna finish that for you, Eshan.
Yeah.
The second half showed me on offense that it's the same typical Cowboys.
Yeah. No, right. Yeah.
Against those Eagles, right? So I got a lot of concerns going into this. I'm not as hype in this game that I was feeling the energy going into week 1, which was an easily winnable game, but the Dallas Cowboyed.
Yeah.
And so when I look at all this as a whole, man, if we go 0-2, talking crazy is still going to be around, but the energy, the vibe is for me is going to be completely different. Go ahead, Savage.
But now, tomorrow, if we do go 0-2, I think we all can agree tomorrow's game wasn't lost on Sunday. That game was lost in the coaching hiring. That game was lost bringing in free agents, letting free agents go. That game was lost draft day. That game was lost bringing in undrafted free agents. You know what I'm saying? Like if we lose
it's great points.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
It's much bigger. We just didn't we didn't lose that game tomorrow. We lost that game the last year, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead, Space.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the fact of the matter is that going into this year, I don't know about you guys and how you guys felt. For me, again, it came down to the fact that this was a year of evaluation, which I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody's performance, but I'm more so putting that on the front office because at the end of the day, you are purposefully trying to make this thing more stubborn than it needs to be. You're trying to elongate this soft rebuild, which we're going to just call it what it is.
Yeah.
When you can easily just like the Micah thing. You could have gotten that sorted out way before the draft got started, because then you could have probably gotten more out of that, right? Then on top of that, if you really felt like you didn't like this, that, or third, you could have probably made moves that would have made more sense. Because Jerry wants to talk about, we could trade these picks for players. Man, the time to do that was ages ago, man. And on top of that, there's no play. Like, really, yes, a first-round pick can get you pretty much anybody. But there's no one in the league where I'm like, yes, I'm going to give up a first-round pick for that guy. Maybe like one or two dudes, but like not anyone where I'm like, that's the dude I want. So for me, if they go 0-2, does it kill the vibe for me? I mean, sure, but I didn't really have a vibe going into this year anyway, which again, I hate to say that, but again, this whole process comes down to what you do. You remember when they talked about when they interviewed Stephen Jones and they said, can Super Bowls be won in the offseason? He's like, not really, at the end of the day, whatever the hell he said, but they for sure can be lost in the offseason.
Right.
100%.
That's it. It's just you got to go out there, take care of business. If we think you're the team, like you're a good. By the way, even if you beat the Giants, that doesn't really sell me on what kind of team you are. Honest to God, guys. But it's just me.
No, go ahead, Block.
Yeah, great point there about Space. Dude, it's a Yeah, to me, it all comes down to building the roster, and they have it's been eroded since Parcells' department and these scouts and you know what they look for. It's eroded. It's completely gone, and they're just not where they're at, where they need to be. You know, they need to. And it's every year, every season, it's a gimmick, right? Literally every season. If you go back, you look at 2024. What was the gimmick? 2023. What was the gimmick? This year, culture, right? Like, I mean, Jerry has built this team as a soap opera, as you know, a new season. What can we say? What
Notre Dame got beat.
You know,
God dog, OG, mute up, man.
so, man, that's what I see, man. It's really the investment is more for not the wins on the field. It's more eyes on the team, on the dramatics. You know what I mean?
Brand on that star.
Yeah. No, it's all good points. So in this edition of Final Topic or Final Thoughts, we got some new guys in here. So what that means is either you give your final thoughts or the final topic for the panel. So if you have a topic that we haven't talked about tonight, you are the host of that conversation. So you get to go around picking people who you want to answer that question, right? So final thoughts, final topic, Cowboy Blog, you go first.
Yeah, final thought. You know, we've all talked about it. It's this game with the Giants. It really is a big game here, and if you look at the rest of the schedule, it definitely doesn't get any easier. You know what I mean? You got the Bears, who, in theory, you should be able to beat them. Caleb Williams looks like he's going to be another USC bust, but it is at Chicago. You know what I mean? Week 4, the Packers. When I saw the Packers, how they just dismantled Washington, I said, they're going to beat the crap out of us, bro. Like, I don't see us winning that game. It could be a complete freaking blowout. Just my opinion. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the rails this team could really fall off the rails here, man. Jets, Justin Fields looks rejuvenated with Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
The Panthers, maybe that's the game that you might win. I mean, they got a lot. It's going to be a tough season, bro.
Mm-hmm. Daddy Savage, final topic, final thoughts.
Glad he brought up the Redskins real quick. I just find it ironic when Dan Quinn was in Dallas, our defensive tackles weighed 280 pounds. But for Washington, they averaged 330 pounds. I pretty much said what I had to say, man. I just don't think we're going to be walking in there beating them by 3 touchdowns. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot closer. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's 2 bad teams playing each other.
That's what it is. No, that's true. OG, final topic, final thoughts.
Yeah. What I gotta say? Final thoughts. I'm trying to find the energy to come out and say the right things about this team. Hopefully, I said earlier on my show that they need to come out and establish they can run the ball tomorrow, and then they need to get work the play action game a little bit better, and get Pickens involved early before you lose him early in the season, and they got to earn Pickens' trust back, and then get everybody involved. Turpin, Tolbert, Ferguson, Schoolmaker, Blue. They got a dink and dunk, and all this throwing the ball downfield and trying to at the end of the game and trying to. They got to create an identity. They got to have an identity on offense. They got to score points and show people we're not afraid of you anymore. And we looked like shit last week in the second half, and we got to come out and establish that throughout the whole game, and not take their foot off the Giants' neck. They got to come out and earn my trust back. I don't trust the team at all right now, and I don't know if I have faith in Dak, but I don't know about Scotty. They're in the bed together right now. and they got to earn our trust back, man. And I got a question for Joe. He said that we're going to get beat down by the Packers. If Dallas, sure, if they can put up 35 points tomorrow, do you think that we have a chance to beat the Packers in Week 4?
Cowboys blog, that's directed to you.
Oh, maybe he got busy. Okay.
Yeah, maybe he got busy. All right, Eshawn, final topic, final thought. What you
Thanks
got?
for having me on, guys. I'm out. Everybody have a blessed night. See you in the morning.
You too, OG. Yes, sir.
Take care, man. No, man. I think for me, final thoughts wise, man, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, man. I mean, it's like I think when we played the Eagles last week, I think myself, Fitz, we thought it was going to be a rout come the first quarter. It wasn't. It was an interesting game to say the least. This game, I got to be honest, I don't even have any sort of a clue as to which way it'll go. I'm sort of like, okay, let's see what happens, and I don't know whether it'll be, the Cowboys will win. I don't know whether the Giants will win. It's just I'm a little bit up in the air right now but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But to Blog's point, man, it's given where the schedule is heading, I think, and also, to your point, Corner, that 0-2 means the season's done. This game, they better win tomorrow, man, because the schedule's not getting any easier, to Blog's point, right? So I mean, I'm interested to see the game, but they better win tomorrow, man. That's all I really got to say.
That's what it is. Space Cowboy, final topic or a final thought?
Final thoughts. The Dallas Cowboys haven't started out 0-2 in a long time. We're talking back to 2010. 2010 is the last time this team started. Now, that doesn't mean that that's out of the realm of possibility. However, what we want to see is, if we want to be like, this Brian Schottenheimer hire was right. I'm talking about for the Cowboys' perspective, not us, right?
Right.
I want to see how this team responds after a loss, right? When we talk about developing a culture or developing consistency, one of the key things that I can take away from a team that's moving in, and I hate to say moving in the right direction because I've heard that so many times, but we don't get to where we need to go. But I want to see this team really go out there and do their business. Now, just because, and I want to be clear to everybody here, just because you beat the Giants doesn't mean that, we're going to win it all or anything like that. I've seen teams go 2-0. Like, people were bringing up, and I hate this because, of course, you got to watch what the Packers are doing, not only because we play them soon, but because of the fact that we need to see where that draft pick's going to land. We saw the Saints last year start 2-0, look like they were going to be a Super Bowl contender, and they fell apart really quickly because things can change, right? So the one thing I want to say is that you win this game, that's great, but then you got to go on the road to Chicago, then you got to come back home versus the Packers, which, by the way, historically the Cowboys have struggled in those particular areas. But I just think that I need to see a win here to kind of show us that, okay, this team isn't fully trash, but that they're at least decent. Because if they go 0-2, that will say a lot about this team. Nothing beats a shit too much. But yeah, fellas, I got to get going. It was great kicking it with y'all.
Absolutely, Space. Thanks for coming on the Corner of Crazy and Cowboys, man. I appreciate it. But no, man, for me, my final thoughts, man, is I want to see physical. I want to see the Dallas Cowboys defense be physical. We were some type of physical in the second half of that game. Seven carries only for Saquon to get 1 yard, I think is good. I want to see that consistently tomorrow, noon Central. And Dak Prescott, right? We talk about Dak Prescott had a good game. The stats don't show it. Whatever. I need Dak Prescott to be consistent. I don't need no up and down games. I need Pickens to be, that number 2 guy who we traded for. I need CeeDee Lamb. We'll see if CeeDee Lamb's in his own head. If CeeDee Lamb is in his own head and he continues to drop passes,
oh man, it'll be bad.
The icing on the cake for a disaster. So, where CeeDee's confidence at in that, and Javonte Williams. All right, I like my goal line situations with you, but can you show me that you can pick up a 25-yard run? Can you show me that you can pick up a 30-yard run? I want to see that tomorrow as well. But no, I want to give a big shout out to everybody that joined the panel. Fifth Quarter Cowboys, Danny Savage, Space Cowboy Media, Cowboys Champ, Eshawn, OG, Cowboys Blog. Thank you all guys for tuning in. Dallas
Let's have a
Cowboy
score
fan
prediction.
1980 in the chat. No
Let's
score
have-
predictions here, OG. No, sir. The show's
What?
done. The show's over with Brando, the best moderator in the game. Mike Bellerano, a big supporter of the
Okay.
channel. Sports Junkie stepped on through. Monroe, average video game player, was in the house as well. Shout out to all you guys for coming on the corner of Crazy and Cowboys. Cowboy Nation, are you in the Cowboys corner? Peace.
No score prediction.
Nah.